Hey everybody, this is Kelvin Redd. Tonight, I'm really looking forward to this little short presentation that I'm going to give you. And the title of this presentation is How Emergenetics Helped My High School Football Team, Central High School in Phenix City, Alabama, win the Alabama 7A State Championship. Now, before I really get started, please forgive me if I get overly excited, if I start talking too fast. Maybe I'll forget something. This is not a workshop. This is a short presentation, and I'm going to cram a lot in here. So you've heard me talk about emergenetics. You've probably seen me post things about emergenetics. So let's talk about what it is first. Emergenetics it measures why you think and behave the way that you do. Why you think and behave the way that you do. Now, one of the things that I really, really wish that the sports world would do would be to emulate the corporate world in one specific area. And that area is the use of psychometric instruments. So now some of you are probably saying, okay, Kelvin, you've lost me here. What is a psychometric instrument? Let me give you an example. It's a personality test. And I guess the one that most people have heard of is Myers-Briggs. All right. And so when I'm talking to a particular client or a prospective client and I'm talking about emergenetics, a lot of folks don't get it. Okay. And sometimes I get this response. Oh, yeah, I did one of those before. And then my first response is always like, okay, so how's it working out for you? Because here's something you really need to understand. All psychometric instruments, all personality tests are not created equal. And if yours doesn't have a technical report where you can go online and Google that technical report, it might not be real. So you really need to know more than just the fact, oh, I'm taking this personality test, because they're not real. Now, keep in mind something. I want you to understand, I have presented emergenetics to college institutions all across the country, but I've worked with presidents and cabinets and faculties, deans, associate deans. I presented emergenetics at the University of Georgia. I presented emergenetics at Auburn University, my alma mater. I presented emergenetics at Wake Forest. Of course, I've done it at Columbus State University for their servant leadership students for 10 years straight. Okay, so I've done this a lot, and I presented it at Wallace State Community College in Huntsville, Alabama. I presented it to their volleyball team, their staff, many of their faculty members, as well as the president and their cabinets, and they swear by it. Okay, so I want you to understand one thing. We live in a world right now of analytics. And in the sports world, it's really gaining popularity. All right. And what troubles me is when I see it in basketball, because I'm like, oh my gosh. But I want you to understand, but don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. If you're an analytical thinker, it is perfect for you. All right. But I want you to understand something about emergenetics and sports. You see, as we talk about analytics, you cannot forget about those millions and millions of people in this country who have what we call a strong gut instinct. You see, scientists have discovered that we have millions upon millions of neurons in our intestinal linings. And we call that the gut brain. It's that visceral feeling that you get when you have this hunch that something's going right. Or it may be that hunch that, oh, maybe I need to stay away from that. But whatever it is, it's that hunch, okay? And I want you to understand that, because although we're in the world of analytics, you've got a lot of people, they make their decisions using their guts, and they need to go with it, okay? So now, before I really get into the meat of a story about my high school football team, I understand that a lot of you have no idea what I'm talking about. Many of you won't get it, and I understand. Let me tell you why. Because studies show only 15% of the people are actually self-aware. Think about that. So you got 85% of the folks out there who wake up every day and they throw darts at a dartboard and they hope it sticks. While that 15%, those are the people who are playing for championships every year. Those are the people who are in high contention because they understand themselves and they understand others and they understand how they're seen. That's self-awareness. Self-awareness is not only understanding yourself, it's also how other people see you. So that's very important. Only 15% of the people actually get it. So I understand. So what I'm trying to do tonight is kind of help you along for those of you who don't understand it. So let me tell you a story about how emergenetics actually helped my high school win the state championship in 2018. But I need to take you back. First of all, My high school, several years ago, we hired Jamie Dubose to be the head football coach at Central High School. Now, he came in highly decorated. He won state championships before. He'd been on staffs that won state championships, and he was highly coveted. A lot of schools want him. So he comes to Phenix City. But here's the deal. For 3 straight years, we finished third in the state. We get to the semifinals, and we don't win the big one. And so in February of 2016, I had the privilege of living out a dream. My dream of dreams has always been to present Emergenetics to a football coaching staff. And I presented Emergenetics to the Central High School football staff in February of 2016. Now, I'm going to share something with you real quick. This is Jamie Dubose's profile, okay? All right? Now, I want you to pay attention right here. He's in the 92nd percentile of social thinking. That's very, very important. His analytical is 5%. He's got a lot of social, and he's very structured. He's a concrete thinker. So think about that. Hold on to that. He's a concrete thinker, but he has a strong gut instinct. Strong gut instinct. 92nd percentile. You can't get any higher than 95th percentile. All right. So let me tell you a story. So in 2016, our high school is ranked 3rd in the state. All right. And we traveled to Mobile, Alabama to play McGill-Tulane. They're ranked number 1. All right. Phenix City is in the eastern part of the state of Alabama. We're bordering Columbus, Georgia. It's a 4-hour drive to Mobile. All right. So we get down there and we get off to a terrible start. And in the 3rd quarter, we're down 21-7. But then we had a big break. We throw a touchdown bomb to Justin Ross. Now, some of you may not recognize that name, but I'm going to tell you who he is. Justin Ross is a wide receiver for the University of Clemson. Clemson University. And a couple of years ago, when Clemson played University of Alabama in the national championship, Justin was that freshman who was catching all of those dynamic passes. All right. He was catching one-handed passes, falling out of bounds. He caught a pass, turned it upfield, and went like 70 or 80 yards for a touchdown. He's from my high school. He's a Phenix City product. All right. So it's 21-14. McGill gets the ball. They're driving. They're at midfield. And guess what? They throw an interception. No. We tied the game up, and it's 21-21. I apologize. We tied the game up. It's 21-21. McGill gets the ball, and they're driving toward midfield, and they throw an interception. This is late in the 3rd quarter. It's almost the 4th quarter. We've got momentum. The crowd is going crazy. We're getting ready to put this team away. We lose the football game. 35-21. I'm going to stop it right there. So when the game was over, the next day I'm talking to a friend of mine, and he tells me that Jamie told him that after we got the interception at midfield, that he should have gone deep to Justin Ross, and he did not do it. Now, he didn't do it. When he told me that, I immediately thought to myself, wait a minute. It's almost like when the friend was talking to me, I blocked out everything that he said, and I started thinking about Jamie's personality profile, his Emergenetics profile. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. He's in the 92nd percentile of social thinking. He has a strong gut instinct. He didn't go with it. So I waited a couple of weeks and I gave him a call. You know, when a football coach, baseball, basketball, I don't care. My father was like this. When they lose the last game of the season, they don't want to be bothered for a while. Okay, so I get that. So I waited a couple of weeks and I called him up and we had a phone conversation. I said, Coach, tell me something. I said, I was told that you said that after we tied the game at 21 and we got the ball back at midfield, that you should have gone deep to Justin Ross and you didn't do it. And he said, yeah, Kelvin, there was so much chatter in my ear. You know, this group was saying we should do this. These coaches said we should do this. And so we didn't do it. And we just ran the ball. And we went like 3 and out and we had to punt. And I said, okay. So that was the end of that conversation. I said, okay. All right. So the next year, we play McGill-Tulane again. And this time, I mean, we were ready for them. All right. The score is tied again, 21-21. All right. And we're going in for, I think that was the score, maybe 14-14. But anyway, we're going in for the what looks like it's going to be the go-ahead touchdown or field goal, one of the two. It's less than a couple of minutes to go in the game. The clock is ticking down. We've got the ball. We're driving. I mean, it's the Red Devils are driving. And all of a sudden, you know, we call a timeout. I don't know if we're getting ready to go for a deep pass or whatever, but it looked like we were playing for the field goal, okay, to win the game. because the ball was around the 25-yard line or so. So we called timeout. And this is what I noticed. The offensive players, they all huddled up, and the offensive coordinator was in the midst of them, and he was in the circle, and he was talking to them. Jamie walks over to them, and he's standing on the outside of that cluster of players, the offensive players, as they talk. And I saw something. Jamie turned around, and he did this. He went in exasperation. I mean, in exasperation, he just slammed his hands, his play sheet down to his thighs. And I'm thinking to myself, And I turned to my wife and I said, this may not end well. And she said, why not? I said, Jamie's in the 92nd percentile of social thinking. And for him to get exasperated like that, I'm wondering if his gut has not told him something, that maybe this is not going to work out. Well, we kick the field goal. It's no good. We go to overtime and we lose the football game. It was heartbreaking because we thought, okay, this is the year. All right, fast forward, 2018. The Red Devils, we're undefeated. We're rolling. We're steamrolling opponents. And we play McGill-Tulane again. We win the first game of the playoffs. Of course, that next morning, you find out who our next opponent is going to be, McGill-Tulane. But this time, they're coming to Phenix City, Alabama. And they get to Phenix City. And and let me just rewind it. So they're coming to Phenix City a little bit. I'm telling you, I'm really excited. Okay, so bear with me. All right, I'm really excited. So when we find out that we're about to play McGill-Tulane, I call and I ask permission to speak to the staff, and Jamie grants me that permission. So I meet with them on the next day, Sunday afternoon, and I meet with the staff. And the first thing I show them is Jamie's profile, and I say, look, guys. He's in the 92nd percentile of social thinking. You see all that red right there? He has a strong gut instinct. He has a strong visceral feeling when things are right, and he has a strong visceral feeling when things are wrong. I said, when he gets ready to make a decision, if he has a gut instinct about something, please do not interrupt him. Let him go with his gut. And that became the mantra. McGill-Tulane comes to Phenix City, and we beat them. We're one game away from going to the state championship. And it's so interesting because I go out, I walk down into the football field after the game, and to a T, like 6 or 7 coaches walk up to me and they say, Kelvin, we let him go with his gut. We let him go with his gut. That was the mantra for the rest of the season, or the rest of the playoffs when we got to the state championship. So my point is, Emergenetics works. We win the state championship that year, not all because, but it assisted in the fact that I was able to impart on the part of the staff, the coaching staff, and the coaches. Look, you all have strengths. You don't have to be an analytical thinker to win. You can be a structural thinker or a conceptual thinker. The key is you gotta be able to utilize your strengths, understand your strengths, and know how to use them in the sports world in critical moments. All right. So right now, let me just say this: Emergenetics, it's very, very popular in educational institutions. It's very, very popular in the business world, but we got to get it into the sports world. And when it does, it's going to transform the sports world. I can guarantee you that. All right. So this is Kelvin Redd. If you would like to know more about Emergenetics and how it can help your athletic teams, your coaching staff, please drop a comment below, inbox me, or shoot me an email at kelvin@kelvinredd.com. That's kelvin@kelvinredd.com. This is Kelvin Redd, and as I like to do when I sign off, define your destiny.